Afternoon friends, a new guitar on the bench. I don't know if it's brand new, but it looks newish. It does need a bit of a clean, and I'll show you what it is. It's a 72 type Telecaster by Squier, made in Indonesia. 2 humbucker pickups, 2 volume, 2 tone, so neck volume, neck tone, bridge volume, bridge tone, already checked her out. 2 humbucker pickups, 3-way selector, standard tele type bridge, 6 saddles. Already tell you straight away this needs a setup. The guy has sent me some 1256 strings. He wants it down tuned into drop A sharp. Personally, on a personal level, I'm wondering why I wants to drop this down to drop A sharp. To do so, I would certainly be upgrading those pickups, because these pickups are quite weedy, quite weak. I've had it plugged in. Certainly not going to be good enough to play metal, but maybe it's going to use a lot of distortion boxes or pedals or what have you. I don't know. So I'm going to give it a setup, give it a full works. We'll check the frets, see if the frets need any work. I've already checked the electrics. The electrics are all working fine. A bit of a scratch on the tone pot on the neck tone, which I'll sort out. We'll get some switch cleaner in there. I'm going to check the setup. The radius needs sorted out. The which means intonation is also going to need sorting out. I'll be doing all that when I've got the new strings on. Now I certainly have to be cutting the nut slots, because they're not going to be wide enough for the new fat strings. So the main thing to do with this really is to get the strings off. I'll check the intonation and everything. I'll check the intonation why it is as it is. So let me just move that cable out of the way, because that cable is plugged into a Spark 40, positive grid Spark 40. I have another cable just here plugged into my rack tuner, which is a Korg DTR 1000 Pro. Rack tuner I've got set up over there. And I know we were set up sharp. But what I'll do is we're just going to check the intonation with it as it is, just to see where we are. Not a lot of adjustment one way on this. That's certainly sharp where it is. So we may have an intonation problem. Go heavy strings, everything's sharp. It means everything's got to go toward the strap pin on the body end. Everything 12th fret is sharp so far. G's okay. B's okay, just about. So the intonation on the top 3 strings is okay. On the bottom 3 strings it's all sharp at 12th fret, means the saddles have got to go this way. Now there's not much room for adjustment there, so let's hope and pray that we're going to have enough. Looking at the saddles, we're going to need to swap everything there. I should have a Allen wrench just here that should fit. 1.5mm should do the job. And that'll be about right about there. So we will be tuning this down to drop A sharp, which is basically C standard with a lower bass. I'd imagine the radius on this is about 9.5. I'm just setting these more or less where they ought to go. It's not going to be where they finally, where they're going to rest. But we'll just give me a good idea of where everything should be. These strings will be coming off anyway. Not a massive fan of these type of bridges myself. There's definitely better options out there. But let's just have a look, see where we are with that. Okay. Yep, about 1.6 and about 1.5 there. So I've set that pretty well. Just going to tune it into E standard while we're here. I don't know how long this guitar's been stored away doing nothing, but it's certainly a bit dirty, so probably a while. So it's tuned in okay. The action, everything as it's set up there is pretty much okay. So that's going to be our starting point. We'll have a look at the truss rod in a moment. It should be down at there. Should be. It's going to be a 4 or a 5 mil. Let's go with a 5. Certainly not a 5, so it's going to be a 4 mil. And I may as well put the camera on the guitar. So basically I'm working live here. I've just picked the guitar up, put it on the bench, I've started filming, and you've been with me the whole time. So, stick that Allen wrench in there. So it's a 4 mil truss rod. The truss rod was loose, there's no tightness on there at all. We'll be using the truss rod in a bit with some heavier strings on, so let's see where we are. And that looks pretty perfect where it is. So that's just nipping up slightly. Quite happy with that where it is right now. Quite happy with the radius on the saddles. We probably need to change that a little bit later. But, so just to give me an idea of where things are right now. So ultimate truss rod has made a difference. So this is how I basically treated this. I'd treat it if the camera was off and I wasn't videoing anything. I'm considering stopping videoing these because my YouTube channel has gone pathetic. I've never had enough feedback on my YouTube channel, so it's hardly worth me doing it now. I used to earn like 100 quid a month, now I'm lucky to earn 15 quid a month, so that's nice, everything's working. So what we're going to do is we're now going to remove these strings and we're going to bin them. So I can start basically from here. But what I'm going to do is we're going to check the frets first and see if the guy wants to spend any money. And he's going to have to, because I picked the guitar up from Nottingham. I'm not charged him for picking it up because I was going there anyway. It's a case of, if I recommend something and you don't go with my recommendation, I reserve the right to refuse to do any work on your guitar. Because basically if you don't accept me at my word, then forget it. You know, if I'm telling you it needs a fret level, it needs a fret level. And if you don't want to do it, there was an instance where he says, oh, I'm not paying for that. I says, well, I've started the work now. Don't want to just stop and pay me for what I've done or what have you. But anyway, there you go with that and this and the other. So let me just get these, we'll get these strings off. I can't be dilly-dallying about unwinding stuff, so I'm going to snip these at this end. That one's off. These ones probably, oh, it's not coming off, so we'll just snip. And we'll just snip them, it's easy enough. There you go, they're all snipped off. Get these strings off, going in the bin. And we're going to check the frets. So you see, I've not stopped the video at all. We're running live basically. And that way there's no argument, is there? So these strings are the strings that came on the guitar when the guitar was new. I can tell because they're Fender colours. So it's a set of Fender strings with these pastel. Oh, there's one missing there. Yes, here, look. Red one. There you go. So we'll get these wrapped up in the bin. Been on a long time, these, because they're really, really grubby and dirty. And what we're going to do is, we're going to check these frets. Then I'm going to contact the lad and tell him my findings. But he's adamant this is the one he really wants to do. And I've just done an Ibanez for him as well. That one could have done me fret level, but he didn't want to pay for it. So he says, well, I won't put my name to it. I've just done a 50 quid setup. Right, I'm having the frets back down. Right, so there you go with this one. So first and foremost, let's have a look at the neck. Normally, with the right amount of relief, if you take the strings off, it should set dead straight. And lo and behold, that neck is dead straight. How good is that? So what we can do now is we take a fret rocker and we can check the frets. Fret rocker has 4 sides, precision milled perfectly flat, and it has 4 different sides for a reason that we just measure 3 frets at a time. And as we move along the neck, we turn it over just so we can always check 2 frets, like so. I mean, sorry, 3 frets, like so. The reason we check refrets is if one is high, we get a rock. So we're going to check these frets, see how they are, see how they compare. And so far, with these, pretty good. There's no high spots anywhere, and that's a good sign, because normally on a Squier we normally had high frets already. And the frets here, so far, are surprisingly and thankfully level along the whole length of the neck, and I have never ever seen that. Got one high one at the 15th, one high one at the 16th, bit of a rock on the 17th, bit of a rock on the 18th. Oh. So we do have some high frets at this end. So we have 4 high frets at this end, but those 4 aside, fret just there. So we have 5 frets with high, a bit of height, a bit of extra height on there. A little bit of a rock on the 9th. So we have 6 frets with high spots. We'll knock these back in with a mallet. Because all in all, we've got 6 high frets. Knock these back in with a mallet, they should reseat and sit quite level. So I'm quite happy with the way things are at the moment with this. Let's just zoom in a little. Let's get over here. There you go. So let me just grab a marker. That was a very, very quick check. So again, I'm going to check that the neck is precision straight before I go again. I'll tell you what, friends, it's certainly straight enough. I'm happy that that is straight. So with the fret rocker, let's have a look. Perfect. A very tiny rock in that area. What do I do with that pen? So yeah. So we're just gonna mark the area. And this area here, these are all knocked back in, I'll tell you that for nothing, because there's hardly anything in it. A little knot there. See, I'm now taking my time and with a really light touch, checking these frets. So now 5 at this end, and it's not because I didn't check properly earlier when I was doing it quickly, it's just I was doing it with quite a heavy touch, so I was pressing quite hard on the rocker. I'm now giving it a light touch. What I'll do is I'll certainly knock these down with a mallet. And then we'll go and check again. Because so far 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 frets with high spots. Like I say, this is a very, very light touch. They're not that bad, the frets. So that one's there. I think we're 3 in a row down this end. So bear with me a second, because my wife's downstairs, but she's got cereal, she's making a lot of noise. I'm going to tell her to be quiet while I do this video. So just bear with me a couple of seconds. I didn't realise she's downstairs giving Siri instructions. I don't know if you heard it or not. It's no big deal. Yeah, it's going to happen. So this is certainly going to look, oh, this is that. Okay, so it's going to look pretty bad on the photos I'm going to send to the client. But that's it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 frets with high spots. So we're going to check back now. I need you guys to listen, because we're just going to check back. Definitely those 3. 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 frets with high spots. You've heard the rocker. What I will do is I'm going to text the guy, let him know. I'm also going to come and tap all of these frets back down, and we'll check again, see how many are still have high spots. For more than 5, we're going to go with a complete fret level. With less than 5, we'll just go with an intensive setup. So we'll see what we're going to do. I think we're going to get away with an intensive setup. So I'm going to tap these frets back in using a fretting mallet, using the nylon end, and with the neck supported where we're going to be hitting. So that is all of the areas with high frets tapped back. I'm going to grab some fuzzy filter here, get rid of all the pen, and we're going to go across all of the frets again with a fret rocker. And what we're going to do is we're going to see if there's any more high spots, and if there are, we're going to tap them down as we go across them and just see how level we can get these frets. In my experience, they're still going to be high spots, but let's see if miracles have happened. So they're still high there. Let's get the mallet on there and just tap it again. And we'll check back. 4 is still high. we're going to do is we're going to let these settle for 30 minutes. 4 is still high. Three has a high spot. Very small bit of rock there. Four is still high, even after going at it twice with a hammer, so that is going to need some leveling. Five is still high. And 4 is high. Five seems to be okay now. Problem is, I can let this sit for half an hour, come back, and then would have all unseated again. Sometimes it just pays to glue and clamp them in, but that takes time. It means removing the neck, it means gluing them and getting a clamp on each individual one. 11 is still high. And it means gluing them and clamping them with glue in, which then you've got to clean up. It's all time consuming, which time is not a problem for me. It is for you, because you've got to pay me for it. And I understand people not want to chuck money at a guitar, but at the end of the day, I've got to be paid for the work I do. It's still high. So I'll do my best to save you guys money, but a high fret is a high fret and it needs sorting out. That's why I'm fret friend. 13 is still high. And they've all been tapped back in, so I think we're all going to pop back out a little bit later on. See, the edge of that one is still high as well. Still got 1, 2, 3 frets with 4 high spots. But some of them are seated quite nicely. 15 has become unseated again. And now, because I've got 15 in, 14 has popped out. This is always the problem, you see. One pops out, the one pops back in. Right, okay, we're looking pretty good there. 16 is high on both edges. Fifteen's popped again in the middle, so we're going to need to do 15. That's 4 we're definitely going to need to do again. 16 still high. You go tap them in so many times, and if you're still not right, they're not right. 17 high on the edge. My friend Danny Lint over at leicestershireLuthiers.co.uk tends to knock them back in but glue and clamp them as well. It's the safest method, but again, you've got to pay for it. You know, it's not free. My time's not free, so I can only hammer these in so many times. If they're not stopping, they're not staying where I need them to stay, they're not staying. So that one again. Once we're hammering them, I'm flattening the tops as well. I'm making them less crowned, so it's going to need attention anyway. I still need attention there. We are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frets. I'm going to let this sit for 30 minutes. It's 6:05 now. I'm going to give it, in fact, I'm going to give it till 7 PM. I'm going to let these sit, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to check all the frets because they've all been hammered back in. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 high frets there. Chances are the client's going to come back and just say, look, do whatever needs doing, and we'll take it from there. But at the moment, that is saying possibly a full level, fret level. Let me go and check the phone. Okay, so this guitar's been sat for an hour or so, probably a little bit longer. And I'm just going to check for I can wipe off all the pen from frets I marked earlier, because I've hammered all the frets back in twice. So if anything is not level now, this will determine how much work we need to do on the guitar. So let me grab the marker pen again. We'll see exactly where we are. We'll see what the fingerboard or what the frets are telling us. Right, so let's go. Number 2 is high. Is high. 4 is high. This is telling us 5 high spot. This is telling us we're looking at fret level. Is high. This is a fret level job. 11 is high. Now, fret level, charge 135 quid. But I'm now gluing the frets in, and I'm not charging any extra. It's extra hours work for me because I have to glue each one individually and clamp it down with a hand press until it's dry, until the glue's dry. So that takes me longer. Yeah, these are all unseated. All the ones I knocked back down have come unseated again. So, complete fret level, 135 quid. I will glue the frets down. So once they're levelled, recrowned and polished, they won't move again. So there you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 frets, 11 high frets. Exactly as we had before. So that is it, 135 quid, this one time only. After that I'm going to be putting my fret leveling prices up to £150 because I'm now gluing and clamp. I have to glue each one individually and clamp them back in. Each fret will be glued, even the ones that don't need leveling. So I'll take the neck off, glue each one at a time, glue them, glue, clamp, glue, clamp, glue, clamp. Then I'll level all the frets, then I'll recrown and I'll polish. So this one time only, 135 quid. After this, the job is going up to £150 minimum. May even go slightly higher than that. So we are going the proper route with this guitar. We are going to clamp and glue the frets back. And once they're clamped and glued, we're going to level the frets. So what I need to do first is remove a neck. Things like the electrics and that we can do later. First we get the neck off. Like so. We'll put the body aside, I'm going to put the body back in the bag. So that's with the neck off, we can see all the frets that need work, but we're going to clamp these all back in. Clamp and glue. Other things we can do while we're waiting are we can tighten these. There's 2 knots here. Just need a little nip. Work the way a little bit loose as they do. Just need a little nip. That's fine. Pretty good, no markings on there, just some scribble on there, don't know what any of it means. Designed and backed by Fender, crafted in Indonesia. Whatever that means. Right, so we're going to take this away. We don't need to get any scratches on the body or anything, so we'll stick it back in its case. Like so. Just over here, just going to grab tool. Fret clamp. Cause you get the fittings for the clamp also, if I can find them. Should have got the whole box out, shouldn't I? Bear with me guys. 2, 3. So I've got these here. Move these things out of the way. Not going to need the pen, not going to need this just yet. No, I'm going to need that. We'll put all of these bits put them in a pot in a minute. If I can go in this spear pot over here. So this method here, we're going to need the correct caul fitting to match the radius. So it's going to be 9.5 or 7.25. Or is it 7.5, 9.25? Well, we've got 12 in there, we certainly don't need that. Check a 9.5. And we are 9.5. So this hand press is from Canada. My wife bought it over, is it last year? Last year when she went to Canada. She's been again this year. Great piece of kit from Guitar Builder online. Let's get the right press. I think that just slips over there like so. And you're going to see, you've got to work out how this works. And to press the frets in, just a matter of clamping over this kind of area. And we have 3 different shaped. There you go. And that's the idea. We clamp in that way. See how it works. But we're going to get some glue in there. And we have different clamps for different areas. That will do the curve of the neck. This part will do the flat of the heel, and this part will do the bit between the heel and the neck itself. That little round, that little curve bit that just comes up. So, really, really simple. We're going to need some super glue. I do have some knocking about somewhere with a little thing on the end. And it's just a matter of Giving some glue in there. It should wick itself in. Not bothered about getting any on the frets or anywhere. We'll let it wick itself in and we'll go the other side. Now this glue in the end we will scrape off. It's going to be a scrape rather than a wipe. So that's that, an excess of super glue in there. We don't need to glue all of them, but just as a matter of course I'm going to. I'm not bothered about any excessive glue because we're going to be scraping the fingerboard anyway. But there you go, and that's the idea. We'll wick some glue under there. We can take a piece of kitchen roll and just wipe off any super excess that we see. There we go. And we'll leave that for a minute or so. So this is going to be a bit time consuming. And while this is happening, I'll stick on some music or stick on something I want, some audio I want to listen to. And this is going to take me a while, so I'm going to crack on with this. Like I say, you pay for my time and my expertise. This is counted as work because I'm waiting about for a minute now for that glue to dry. So it's all work time. I did say I'll do this whole job, including the fret level and recrown and polish and the setup, for £135. For the future, when I'm gluing frets in, I'm going to increase it to at least a minimum of £150. It's only fair. You're paying for the time. But there you go, guys. So I'll get all this done and I'll bring you back in a little later. Good morning, fret friends. So we have the frets all glued back in, just about to remove the clamp or the hand press. And there will be residue and mess to clean up. We don't mind this because this is all something we can do a little bit later on. So what I do is I can take any kind of scraper and we just scrape straight across the top. It comes off quite easy. But these frets, every single one of them has been glued and pressed or clamped in. So what we can do now is, even if there are slight gaps, which there are, they've not all pressed perfectly flat to the fingerboard. That means these slots are probably not quite deep enough. But what we're going to do is we'll remove all the glue residue, we'll move that a little bit later, but we're going to level all of the frets as they are. And once they're leveled, the tops are flat, we're going to recrown them. So still quite a lot of work to do. I could try and remove this nut, but chances are if I remove it, I'm going to have to replace it. Now the good thing is the first couple of frets don't need any levelling, so I can leave that in and still level all of the frets because I can work just up to here and stop the sanding beam or the levelling beam short of the nut. So we're not going to hurt the nut. There's been many occasions where I've levelled frets with the nut still in, so that is not a problem. It also means I can keep the tuners on. So I'm going to crack on with this one a little bit later. I've got some other jobs to finish before I go to work this morning, but this certainly is one for later and one for the weekend. I'm actually off work Saturday and Monday. It's my long weekend. So this is one I can work on tomorrow among a couple of others. So that's where we are right now. All the frets are now pressed and glued in, so they're not going to move. So when I level them, they are going to stay level. Before I level the frets, I'm scraping off the excess glue. And what I do is I take a line down the side of the fret, each side. And I've already done up to fret 12 or up to fret 11, so I'm just about to do fret 12 and 13. But I just take a line down using a old Stanley blade. And what I'll do is I'll scrape between the two frets, removing any excess glue. So it's going that way and again this way. So between frets 11 and 12. Scraping the whole fingerboard area. When it comes to polishing frets, that's when all the glue will be removed from the tops and the sides of the frets. But I'll give you a quick glimpse of where we are. All these frets down here have been done. They've all been scraped and we've still got all of these areas to do. And you can see excess glue on the frets and where have you. And the reason I've got it set this way is I can set it there, set it flat with the tuners just holding the neck in place. just there. I'm going to move on to the next one. And again. Coming toward the camera onto the 12th fret. Then I'll change angle. I'll go away from the camera toward the 13th fret. Right, so then I'll do both areas from fret 12 to fret 13. And again, we give it a scrape on the edge of the fret. And on the edge of the fret. So this is all excess work. Clamping and gluing in, then scraping the fingerboard. So a £15 price increase for all that extra work is very justifiable. And like I say, I've not put my prices up on a complete fret level for over 3 years, maybe even 4 years. Everything's gone up, especially this last year or so, since after lockdown, which we knew somehow the people, the common people, you and me, were going to have to pay for furlough, and this is how we are paying for furlough. Plus everything going up beyond inflation. All the companies, the utility companies, the gas companies, what have you, all making record profits, but we're being sucked dry. Do you know we are the lowest paid workers, not just of our generation, but the last 5 or 6 or the last 3 or 4 generations. We are at poverty levels, and you notice we're all working extra hours to make ends meet. You people, I mean everyone, come on, we all need to get our Bibles out and go and read what's written in there, because to me it's all true. You know, we are in the end times and the Lord is returning soon, and I love to share that. But anyway, do your own research. So back to where we are, is scraping. It's quite therapeutic this. I quite enjoy doing this part of the job. So I'm going to crack on, get this all done. Once it's done, we can get this neck straightened, or get it set straight, and we can start, you know, look at levelling these frets. So plenty more work to be done. I also have to get ready for work now. I'm going to work within the next 30 minutes, so it's as much as I'm doing right now. So I'll come and give you guys an update a little bit later. Good morning, fret friends. So a few things I've done off camera since you last saw this. I've scraped the fingerboard, so it is all now super clean. All the excess glue has been removed. The frets have been clamped and glued in individually, which is fantastic. I've levelled them using my levelling file, a diamond file, perfectly flat, from Chris Allsop, UK based. And I've already been across with 240 grit on the levelling beam. This is a Crimson Guitars levelling beam, perfectly level edge there, perfectly level edge there. I've got some 400 grit to finish off. So, like I said, these last couple of frets didn't need work. So I don't need to go right up to the nut, so I didn't need to remove the nut. And all I'm going to do now is, with the neck dead straight and clamp to a piece of MDF, or bolted to a piece of MDF using the proper gubbins here. I've got the neck perfectly straight, I've levelled the frets, and I'm now just going to go across with the 400 grit to remove the deeper of the scratches. And basically, once all the pen is removed, the frets are level with each other along the whole length of the neck. Now I may just slightly knock the nut, but I'm not hitting it hard enough to cause any damage. And that is all of the pen removed, which can only mean one thing, that the frets are level. And what I'm doing now is I'm looking to make sure I've got an even file across the top, so I've got the same width on this side as we have on that side. I need to do a little bit more work on this far side. And notice I use the full width of the neck, so I overlap this side to maintain the radius along the whole length. If I did it that way, it wouldn't work. And that, my friends, is all of the pen removed, which can only mean that all of the frets are level. Clamping them in and gluing them in helped a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the fret rocker and we're going to check the frets along the whole length in the 3 areas, and I already know that these are going to be level. So the next part of the process will be to tape up the fingerboard, leaving just the frets exposed, and we're going to recrown them and we're going to polish them. So a lot of work, but these frets are now precision level, and that is what we wanted. And it's worth paying even on these Squiers, because these Squier necks are fabulous. They've got a lovely nice thick piece of rosewood on the top. I rate these necks very highly. Squiers are a much better guitar than you might think. But that is the frets, precision level along the whole length of the neck, and that is fantastic. So what I want now, we've got scratches all going this way, we need to remove those. So we're going to recrown them first. That's where the flat bit, we've flattened the tops, we're going to recrown them. Once that's done, we're going to polish, and we're going to polish in this direction to remove these scratches this way. And we're going to go with ever finer grit. So we're going to start at 400 grit, finish at 2000 grit, then we'll finish off with a super fine steel wool. You'll also notice that these frets are now, they've all been clamped and glued, so they are gapless underneath. So that's part levelled anyway by doing that. So we now have a precision level neck and frets, and this guitar will play as good as anything. That is it until tomorrow, because I'm going out today with the wife and the dog. We're going to Skegness for a day, so back tomorrow. So next day, just going to check again that the frets are level. And they are, and that's great. And with them now glued in and clamped, there are no gaps under them, so they look a whole lot better. So this neck is going to be good for many, many years to come. So a lot more work, gluing and clamping, something I'm going to address in my new pricing for this year. Now, I've not brought my prices up for about 3 years, but in the current climate, I'm going to have to increase my prices this year, because materials and everything has got so much more expensive. You know, we can't work for nothing. But anyway, with that, those frets are all level. I'm not going to need my Z file today, because we've had that little material removed. We're a little bit flat on top, we've had that little material removed. I'm just going to use my StuMac crowning file, and this has the crown shape built in, as you can see, and this being a they're not that wide a fret, so I'm just going to go on. I'm going to use this one here, this side, and it's just, I'm not even going to take it with it. It's just a matter of, it's a diamond file, so it cuts really nicely, and this is going to nicely round over the tops of the frets. I can do a couple before I clean the file, and this is not going to take me long at all. And all I'm doing is we're recrowning those frets with this one file. Get it right, like so. And there you go. Now I'm going to get this done. Once this is done, I'll tape up the fingerboard and we'll move on to the polishing stage. Four done, so I'm going to crack on, get this done, I'll come back, we'll get a fingerboard taped up and we'll move on. Fret polishing, my least favourite job in the workshop. 7 grits of sandpaper going from 400 all the way through to 2000. So the grits are, I'm going to line them up anyway, 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. That's all the grits I use. Move this out of the way. Line up over here so you can see them. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 1500, 2000 or 2000. And it's just a matter of, I always adapt to glove. Polishing fingers are still intact. Other fingers I just cut off, stop my hand sweating too much. Now I take a 400 grit and it's just straight across the top. And this 400 grit removes the deeper scratches. And I'll start with a 400 and I'll work through the grits until I get to the 2000. And this is going to take me a good while. And it's really, really boring. It's why I stick something on YouTube while I'm doing it. So I'm going to be quite a while at this. And I'll come back when I've done and we'll finish off with the super fine grade steel wool, and these will be scratch free and shiny. So coming towards the end of this job, I've just pulled myself some super fine steel wool from a roll. Gone through the 7 grits of paper, which are here. That's all done. We're just going to finish off with super fine steel wool. It's just a matter of getting the steel wool, this fresh piece, and getting straight over the frets, pinching over the frets and giving them a final polish. And these frets are super smooth, soon to be super shiny. It's going to take me a few minutes. Once this is done, we'll get the tape peeled off. We'll spray the fingerboard with some mineral oil, you know it as lemon oil. Get the treatment. Don't forget we've scraped the fingerboard, we've glued these frets in and clamped them in. So a lot of work. And then we'll get ready to go back on the guitar. And hopefully we'll have this one done today. Let's have a little look and see where we are with these frets now they've been done. And look at those. It's better than new. Those frets are, let me turn the guitar upside down because there's too many things to knock on the other side. So the guitar is upside down, but look at these frets. They are precision level. They've now been glued in and they've been clamped and glued in, so they're closer to the fretboard. They're glued, they're not going to move. They've been levelled, recrowned and polished. And look at that. I've charged them a regular, the old price of $135 for that. I should have been charging more. We're gluing in that's a lot more work, it's a couple of hours more work. But looks wonderful. So he has asked me to install 12 gauge strings on this. Now I've also done not a Yamaha, I've done an Ibanez of this, a Yamaha, an Ibanez RG421, which has had 10s on it, which he said he wanted, but he wants 12s on this. I would have been more inclined to put the 12s on the Ibanez and down tune that to see, but it's not what he wanted. So this one's going to be down tuned to, in fact, drop A sharp. I don't know what I've done with the strings, they're knocking about somewhere. We've got to find them because they're the ones to go on there. So what have we done with them? La-di-da-da-da. Right, okay, I'll stop the camera, I'll try and find the strings. Yeah, but I would have been much more inclined to put the 12s on the Ibanez, because an Ibanez is going to be a much better down-tuned guitar. It's got better pickups. Don't think these pickups are built for down-tuning and heavy music, but yeah, who am I to disagree? I remembered where the strings were about 5 seconds after I stopped the video, so here we are, straight back. So yeah, putting 12s on this. You know, I do as you request. Well, if I agree to your request. So, some 1256s are going on here. Not slinkies. 12, 16, 24, 32, 44, 56. Yeah. Would not be my choice. But hey ho. So we're going to have to alter the radius, the intonation, and we're going to have to cut the nut slots because they're not going to be wide enough for these strings. But we only do what is asked of us, so I don't think it's a good choice. But that's just my thing. I'll grab some cutters. So we're going to be, I love these tuners, these are my favourite type of tuners. You stick the end of a string in there and wrap around the post, and they just work so well. Don't need so many wraps with the low E. Maybe an extra wrap or two because we're down tuning so much. We're down tuning to drop A sharp. Now drop A sharp is something I have used myself, but I'd certainly be going with better pickups than these standard pickups on a Squier. I'd be sticking some, I'd be wanting something like some bare knuckles. I've got a bare knuckle juggernaut on my hammer in the bridge position. Playing in standard tuning, I really ought to be playing in drop D or something on that guitar because it's such a good pickup for drop tunings. But anyway, let's see if I have a 56 nut slot file. I do have one right there. This is a 56. It's come straight to the top, and that is because these slots in there already are not going to be wide enough for these strings because they cut for a, imagine they cut for a 1046 set. I need to cut the nut slots anyway, so I'm just going to widen this just to accept the string. And it's been a little stubborn, but there you go, we're cutting into it now. And that is going to accept the string. And now it's not pinching, it's the right size slot, just show you there, 0.056 of an inch. That's good. We're going to clean the file. We're going to be cutting these nut slots later on anyway. That is not a bone nut on there. Again, I don't think the clients thought this through. I'd have been changing that nut for a bone nut myself. But that's just me. Right, anyway. I'm going to turn my tuner. I'm not going to finish this guitar tonight because I do have a prior engagement. I've got a church thing on tonight. I've got to be there in half an hour. So I'll be leaving here shortly. So that's a B. So we wanted an A sharp, that is an A sharp. So we're going to drop A sharp or drop B flat. Next one, 44. Now I don't have a 44 file, I do have a 46, which is the one I'm going to be using. Let's get the string on first. And a myriad of things we're going to have to change. We're going to, obviously, for intonation's sake, we're going to have to move the saddle. So I'm not going to set in the radius or anything right now. The guy's got himself a really good deal on this guitar because he's doing a lot more work. Because changing the strings means I've got a couple of nut slots, I've got to change the alter the intonation or for the intonation. But this is my job and I'm blessed to do it. Praise the Lord, thank the Lord for that. There you go, and I'm happy with a couple of, look at that nice couple of winds around there. So I'm going to get the rest of these on off camera. I'll be cutting the nut slots as I go. So this is A sharp, which is a D sharp, E sharp. Or an F, E sharp, no such thing as E sharp, what am I thinking? silly. The resonance here, but that nut slot is not wide enough for that string. I do have a 46 knocking a bar in here, which is the one I'm going to use when I find it. There you go. Because the strings are 44, the closest I have is a 46. Nothing wrong with going a little bit wider. We certainly know it's not going to pinch. Now don't go mental at this. Go too deep, you're replacing the knot. We don't want to be doing that. Time and money. But there you go, look at that. Stretch the string in two. So you're going to drop A sharp. I'd certainly like to see some heavy pickups in there. So that's as much as I'm doing tonight. I'm going to get the rest finished tomorrow because I've got 10 minutes to get ready for my church thing tonight. So I'm going to get ready for that. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll have the strings on. We'll move on to the nut slots, the radius and the intonation. It is really warm in the workshop today, but we must crack on. So I've got the strings on, 1256 set, as shown earlier. Still need to finish off the nut slots, which I'm not going to do just yet. I've altered the radius on the bridge, so we're more or less where we need to be. Again, not spot on. I've just done it by eyeball. Where is my radius 12? Here it is. And ideally, this guitar would be a lot better if it was a 12-inch radius, but I doubt it's going to be 12 inch, it's going to be nearer 10, it's probably going to be 9.5. And again, I think it's the wrong sort of guitar for down tuning, but that's just my opinion. So whatever that is, it's certainly not a 12, it's going to be 9.5. I'm going to set the radius at the bridge to 10. Just give me a little bit more anyway. Definitely 9.5. Check where I am with this. Oh, actually, I can set it down to 9.5 because all of these strings are way high. Now I've set the treble side at about 1.75 and the bass side at about 1.2 because I've still got a couple of nut slots. They are both too high for where I need them to be. This is at the 12th fret, by the way, those measurements. We are going to bring it down. These saddles seem way too high, a lot higher than I would have preferred them to be. But again, radius is what it is. I do think should have been sticking 12s on the Ibanez, not this guitar. Just my opinion. For what it's worth. I don't think these pickups are up to drop tunings. But the pickups on the Ibanez will be. So that is the radius set. So let me just eyeball where they are. Okay, so where they're not straight, I'll level them back up. And when I turn it up one side, I'll drop it down another just to keep them level and straight. That one looks pretty good. That one looks okay. And that one looks okay. So these are not too bad. Still a little bit higher than I would like them myself, but hey ho. So let's just check the action at the 12th fret again. So on the bass side, we are near enough 2mm. On the treble side, about 1.6mm. That is good. Don't forget we tuned to drop A sharp. we'll go through the notes. We are A sharp. Need to stretch these strings in yet. F, A sharp, D sharp, G, C. And to show you how I drop A sharp, you can see my hand there on the thingy. Sounds pretty good, nice, resonates nice there, feels good, feels better than it sounds I suppose, but sound is also felt. So, we're now going to check the intonation, and this is where there could be problems. Now let's hope, so we're going to be a bit flat because I laid the guitar down. I still need to stretch the strings in, so let's get them stretched in. I'll stretch them in a little. The intonation on that one's pretty good. That's nice. Now I did set the intonation before with thinner strings on, so by rights if you change that strings, but if the intonation's set it should be about right even with heavier strings. That's a 1256 set. Help me tremendously if the intonation's right. Definitely sharp. And I bought a long screwdriver specifically for setting the intonation, and that way I can get right behind the bridge and I can move the saddle. And I move the saddle away from the guitar body or toward the strap pin at this end. Because it's sharp, we need to go to the right. If it was flat, 4 letters, we go left 4 letters. If it's sharp, we go right. Sharp and far and right 5 letters. That's how I always remember. Stretch again. Good. Sharp there also. So this is probably going to be the case. That's nice. So you get where I'm going. I've got the first 3 done. Get the next 3 done. Once that's done, we'll come back and we'll cut the nut slots. So when it comes to the intonation, we now are where we need to be. I'm just going to check the radius again, because we have moved a few of the saddles back. You can slightly alter the radius, but if it's close, I'm going to leave it as is. Let's see where we are. Okay, we're certainly it's dropped down a little in the middle, but you know what, I'm going to leave that there because I like the height of where the strings are above the fingerboard. And I still need to cut the nut slots. So when it comes to nut slots, because I'm going with a lower tuning, and we've got fatter strings, I'm going to cut the strings a little bit higher than normal. And I'm going to need the correct files. So we're going to go, I'm going to need a 56, which I have there, a 46, if it's a 44 if I have one, I don't have a 44, and a 32, which I have. We have a 16, which I'm going to need. We're going to go a 24, which I'm going to need, and a 13. So there you go. So we're just going to have a look at where we are with the string slots. And on this bass side, and these are my measurements, they don't have to be yours. Around about 0.3 on the bass side, and around about 0.2 on the treble side, and we'll be pretty much where we need to be. So we've got a long ways to go there, so I'm going to need the correct nut slot file, 0.056 for a 56 string. Going to need a cloth to clean the file, and these slots are quite high. So when we reduce the height here, we're going to reduce the height at the 12th fret. In fact, we're going to reduce it by half at the 12th fret. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 56 and we're going to cut the nut slot, and we're not going to go too gung-ho. We're just going to cut in, we're going to clear any residue, and we are just going to check again, and we're going to go in and we're just going to, nice and smooth, don't need to cut them at an angle, on a strap knot, and we're going to put the string back on and we're going to look at the height there. We're going to there you go, I'm going to check the height again. Just starting to buzz, we like that. We like that little buzz. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to cut any more depth. I'm just going to make sure we've got that nice and smooth. That file's going through smoothly, nice and smooth. I'm not pressing, just letting that guide in and just make sure we've got the width. We've already got the depth. And there you go, and that's moving free and easily. It means the string is going to move in there free and easily as well. And we can stretch that string back in. And let's see where we are. Just buzz in. The next one I'm going to drop to 0.025, and I just want to get it buzzing right on the cusp, and that's that one there. So we're just going to get that in there, and we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to get the right file in a second. We've got fair ways to go. It's a 46 string, so I'll go with a 46 nut slot file. I'm going to give this one a wipe first and put it away, and you can see where I'm going with this and how it works. Put that one away because that's finished. So we're going to take the next one, which is a 46. The string is a 44, so slightly wider. But we're going to do exactly the same with this one. And we're just going to, nice and steady. Don't go gung-ho. If you go too deep, you'll be replacing the nut. And you don't want to be doing that. And I've done that a few times. And what I want to do is just go in at a slight angle and a slight angle there, just to widen that slot. There you go, and clean up any residue we've got there, anything that's lurking about. Stretch the string back in. .25. Just trying to buzz. I'm happy with that. I want more of a buzz on the next one, which is the next string, 0.32. So you can see where this is going. I'm going to do exactly the same for all of the strings. Get them buzzing. When I get down this end, it'll be 0.2, 0.22, 0.24-ish. So we're going to gradually go lower as we get to the thinner strings because they vibrate less. But once that's done, we're going to check the tuning again. We're going to stretch everything in. We're going to check the intonation in the playing position. And once that's done, We're going to check the radius again at the bridge. I think the radius is pretty good where I've got it. I quite like it where it is. And that will be that. So we're back soon. And there we are, guys. We are all done with this one. I've still got it plugged into the tuner. So this one came in. He wanted it drop A sharp tuning. He wanted some 1256 strings on there, so we've done that. So that meant we had to cut the nut slots, which we've done. It also had a complete fret level. Now, before I could do the fret level, the frets were lifting all over the place, and I did him a special favour at the old rate. And I actually glued them in and clamped the frets in for nothing. I haven't really charged for it. I've charged them at the old rate of 135. For future reference, if I'm having to glue and clamp the frets in, there's going to be a charge on top. So I'm going to be doing it for a minimum of at least £150. For me to clamp each string individually, each fret individually, and to glue it in takes about 5 minutes per fret. And so over 21, 22 frets, it takes a while. And then you've got all the clean up afterwards. I've had to scrape the whole fingerboard. It's a lot of clean up. I've also had to scrape excess glue off the frets. It's taken me a good 2-3 hours longer than it normally would. So I'm going to be revising my prices for a fret level, especially if I'm gluing in the frets and clamping them in. It paid in this one to do the lot. All of the frets are now tightly onto the fingerboard. They are all glued in with super glue. I've cleaned up all the residue. So it's had a lot of hours this, and I've only charged him 135 quid. You know, by rights I should be charging him at least 175 for this one on its own. But it is done. It has, as I said, all the frets have been clamped in, they've been glued in, they've been levelled, reprofiled or recrowned and polished. They look stunning. The guitar is now better than it was brand new. I guarantee it plays better. And we've got it down to drop A sharp. The pickups, I don't think the pickups are right for a drop tuning, but that's just my personal preference. But it is all done. And I'm going to move on to the next one. So this can go back with his Ibanez. He's got 2 guitars. I'm going to drop them off. I'm going to charge him a little bit for fuel, as is only fair. He lives 12-13 miles from here. So 12-13 miles, each way is 26 miles, but twice is 52 miles. I should charge him a tenner for fuel, which I think I'm going to do. But that is it, it's all finished. So before I go, I just want to remind you of my website, facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. I am Victor, I am your fret friend. Until next time, as always, God bless you, be good to each other, and I will see you in the next one.